voices. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I had seen such riches, I could live with being poor. Oh, sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down. Sit down next to me. Sit down, 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 down. Sympathy.
So, good evening, Frank. Thank you for coming on once again. Well, basically, that was a load of bollocks last night. You know,
Yes,
we threw away
agreed.
yet another European Cup competition, Europa Cup competition. We've sacrificed 3 cups this season. It's a disgrace, man. It's an absolute disgrace. And I was looking up today, Arsenal, being one of the top 6, have the worst record in Europe. Now that, I'm sorry, is appalling. And we'll get into deeper chat about this. But Fran, I know you were pretty angry about it.
Yeah, I was. And I'm not feeling any better about it. I think the more I think about it, the more it gets worse and worse, because the amount of pressure that this has put on the team now in the league is absolutely just unbelievable. And we've seen like the risk when these guys are put under pressure, like the bottle syndrome and same old Arsenal. They've just made it 100 times harder for themselves in the league. Not to discount the fact that I was listening, apparently we haven't won in Europe for like close to 30 years, a European trophy. And I'm just fed up of every trophy just seeing us put out like the most minimal side that could do the job, rather than just going like full strength, because we could have gone full strength on this game, and we did end up going full strength like when we realized things weren't working out anyway. Why not start with the first 11, get the job done, get a couple of goals, then stick on the reserves, rather than allowing it then to drag out to a 120-minute match or whatever it was. Just, yeah, the more I think about it, the worse it gets, really. And the Prem is just crucial now. Hey, Kyle, happy Paddy's Day.
Yeah, happy Paddy's Day, man. I know you don't drink, so have a good time, my friend. Pete says we can't have it all. Well, Pete, we're a big club, man. We should be having it all.
You don't
I
see...
don't...
Oh, no, go on. Yeah, you don't see teams like Barca back in the day, Real Madrid, Bayern, like PSG, probably not a great example, doing well in the league and then not trying in Europe, because they're either focusing on one or the other. Big teams focus on both, and I put it just down to a lack of effort from the players last night. Their performances were really poor. It's just not good enough. But sorry, Jez, to interrupt you.
No, you carry on. You're the guest. You're entitled to say whatever you want to say. And yeah, we're just still waiting for a couple of us to join us. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting point you've just made there, Fran, is that, you know, Arsenal, we are absolutely bloody awful in Europe. Let's get it right. You know, one Champions League final in all the 25 years we were in the Champions League concurrently, which is a record, by the way, and we only get to one final. And my personal opinion, we got cheated in my book when our goalkeeper got sent off, but you know, that is life. And Kyle said, I said it, Jez, we will win absolutely nothing again this season. Well, we're still in the mix for the Premier League, and we'll talk about these facts. But as Craig says, yeah, it's 30 years of hurt in Europe. Absolutely. Bloody awful. Connor says, hi, Jez, I sent you a DM. I'll hop on in about 20 minutes. Yeah, no problem, mate. No worries. You've got stuff to do, do it. Hope not, Carl. Got a lot riding on this. Pete's obviously betting his mortgage on it. But yeah, I mean, Matthew says, beat Palace, I'm fine with it. Yesterday was shown that we don't have the squad to win the league and in Europe.
Can I chip in there?
Yeah, of course you can.
I think that team that we fielded yesterday, it wasn't our first 11, but they still should have done the job over Lisbon. Like, if I know a lot of people are looking at Vieira, but he's Arteta's choice, £35 million player. Even if he's like weaker in the team, everyone else around him, Xhaka, Gabriel, Saliba. I think we had like 8 of our starting 11 or something like that. There was enough quality on the pitch to get it done. Like, before the team, most people were saying like it was a good lineup. I mean, before the game, it was a good lineup, a little bit like rotated perhaps. But I do agree that the drop off, and it's hard though, because you think like that team should have got it done, but that doesn't discount the fact that the drop off from our first team to our slightly rotated 11 is still too large. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I hear what you're saying. But Fran, I personally, my view, I don't think Arteta took this seriously at all. He didn't when we were away. I think yesterday, why do you put that midfield out there? It was poor, really poor. Fabio Vieira against Sporting Lisbon away was poor. He was shocking last night. He stayed on for 100 minutes. I'd have hooked him at half time. The guy's just not ready for Premier League yet. And he's certainly not ready for Europe yet. I'm not going to diss the guy. He has quality, but I'm sorry, he's just not quite there yet. And I think Arteta, mate, your continual little fiddling around cost us that. I think they were, we were 2-2. So, let's say 0-0 going into last night. And we could have taken that. But no, it was a shit show. Sorry. Fran, what do you think?
Sorry, you were talking about Vieira off at half time. Yeah, you know what is like so much weirder as well, is that he should be comfortable there, right? Like, he's played that team a lot. Like, they know who he is. And to be fair, when he got the ball, apparently like all the Portuguese fans were booing and stuff. But he should like feel a bit more comfortable, like having played those sort of teams before. So yeah, I do think he underperformed, and I'm fed up of us buying in like players that will be good in the future. We haven't done that with Trossard. I think Trossard's been like the shining light, but everyone else is like a project player. Loads of them are under Arteta, whereas we need players like right now to help us win the league. And I'm sure we'll get into it, but my main problem, first of all, is like our transfers, right? But second of all, I think that team could have won it last night, but it was the psychology of that team and the attitude that comes from the top, comes from the manager, about this is not as important as the league. This is like a practice run. This is where we'll fiddle around, change, and see how good this person is. Maybe we could bring them in the league. It's like a warm-up fixture for the Prem, I think. And I think that their heads were just wrong. Like, the quality that was on the pitch could have won it. That's what I think. But it's just the way they went in with their mindset of like, this doesn't really matter. That comes from the manager. So again, yeah, it's just arrogance. I don't know how he thinks he can just chuck aside European trophies when, 30 years, worst European record out of, like, it's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. This can't continue. We're a big club, but in Europe, it's an absolute shambles. I know that was a bit of a waffle there, but
Facts.
he's so disrespectful. He's so disrespectful towards the European Cup. I mean, I always think of it as like when I was playing sports at school. Like, if we'd play this team, like, we would always play like 150%, whether it was a friendly against like the other class in our year or like a really important other school. Do you know what I mean? There's no excuse for not giving 150%, like, depending on which competition you're in. It's not good enough. Not good enough at all.
No, it's a disgrace. And the fact is, Fran, I'll ask you this question. Lots and lots of people saying, well, the aim is top 4, so we get into the Champions League. Can you imagine this squad, levels of this squad in the Champions League against Bayern Munich, PSG, Barcelona, Real Madrid, that ilk of playing ability? We know we've been absolutely piped 10-2 over 2 legs against Bayern Munich the last time we played them. Embarrassment factor. Now, this, I know, Arsenal has spent £500 million since Arteta's been here, but we still do not have a squad that can compete in Europe. It's a disgrace.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think the problem is that the 500 million's being spent, but the people spending the money that are employed by the Cronkies aren't, first of all, like good at negotiating, getting like Arteta's first choice. We always seem to go for like the slightly less expensive option that's like a project player, which I understand, but again, it's like, how long is this project? Sometimes you've got to bring in players that are just ready, set to go. But I forgot what the question was.
Well, no, we just haven't. We haven't spent. Sorry. Basically, what I was trying to say is that people are calling for. It's the top 4 is what we're. And Champions League, we're going to get in Champions League. Well, what with this squad? We get piped around bloody Europe, man.
We would.
Come on.
We would, but then their argument is that when we're in the Champions League, that means that the management will invest and get these world-class players. But do you see Edu walking in trying to negotiate for Osimhen or something and actually coming out with the player? I don't see it happening. I've got no faith that they'll like actually do what's needed. I think everyone can agree that if we, which we will, make it into the Champions League, this squad needs major what's it called when it's an improvement, needs major improvements in certain areas. I think a lot of our first team players should become like the backup, especially say like the midfield. We need another Tomiyasu replacement, I reckon. I think he just gets injured far too much, but just we need a major not overhaul but a major upgrade to be able to compete in the Champions League next year. And the greatest way to judge, was it you that said this, TJ, that the best way to judge what happens in the future is by looking at the past record? And yes, I just don't see us investing correctly in the summer. So all my problems and doubts and everything, they'll always go back to the Cronkies for not employing people that are winners and know how to get the job done and want to be the best of the best. But yeah, I guess that's kind of going off topic. Hello, TJ.
Well, no, I think I know I just started listening in, but I can tell that Fran, anything that Fran said, I agree with. So that's my take. Easy peasy. Next question. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, come on, man. I just wanted a super chat here. Thank you to here to there. Thank you for your super chat. Very kind. Why can't Arteta rotate like Ten Hag? Notice he plays Wan-Bissaka 2 cover for Maguire. Playing no party, no Tierney was a massive mistake from Arteta.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely facts. TJ, man, hope you're well. How you doing?
I'm a little stressed out from work, so but again, Jess, thanks for having me on. I'm sorry to pop in late here, but I always appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on your show. Really appreciate it, man.
No worries, man. Looking forward to your show at 9:00.
It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one.
I'll try and hop on if I can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
did you say Prince Fuad is on?
Oh yeah, no, he's coming on.
That's gonna
at least for the first half. Yeah, Jez is already like I'm busy now. No, Prince is coming on.
I love him. He's so.
He's a good guy. He's just a wind-up merchant. That's all.
He is. He's jokes, and he always gets a reaction.
He doesn't get to me, man. He doesn't get to me. I'm too long in the tooth for that one. But Peter, also, I'm sorry, Jez, my behaviour in recent months was out of order. Can't justify it. You are a true fan. Sick of the real plastic. People like Julian and AFTV. Okay, Pete. Fair play, son. Fair play. And Jamina says, big up, chat. Everyone in the chat. Yeah, big up to you, mate. Absolute facts. I love Jamino. He says it as it is. He really does, and I love him, especially some of the names he's come up with for me. Anyway, get back into TJ. I want to ask you this question, man. I really do. Arteta got it all wrong. All wrong. And I said last night, very angry on Lee's fan cam thing. I just don't think he took this seriously. He hasn't taken the FA Cup seriously for 3 years after he fluked winning the FA Cup with not even his team. He's got us kicked out of a semi-final in the Europa League, and again, it was a shit show, man. Come on, we're supposed to be one of the top teams in England, and we have the worst record in European football out of the top 8 teams in England. It's disgraceful.
Where do you want me to start, Jess? So I said this on Del Boy's channel last night, so if I'm sounding like a broken record, I'm sorry, but it starts from the top down with me. Josh and Stan and Edu and Vinay have not given one iota of support or depth to this team through the transfer windows, the past 2 transfer windows. Obviously, they believed in Fabio Vieira a lot more than that's probably deserved. What's up, Connor? I would say that there's shared blame there. I think there's blame to go around, to be completely honest. So let me start with the team selection. To an extent, Arteta is hamstrung by who he has to select from. So you have I looked at that. I'm going to be honest. I looked at that lineup last night, and the only thing that really scared me was Vieira in the midfield. Jorginho has performed up to a certain standard that was levels above what he did last night. He was a shambles last night. That Jorginho was the Jorginho that Chelsea fans were laughing at us for taking.
Yeah.
That was him last night. So if we really want to, and another thing too is I think the players are getting off scot-free here a little bit. You could tell that there was just something missing. The passing was awful last night. The same flow of play that we saw against Fulham just wasn't there. I don't know if these guys are not training with each other all the time, or it was an odd lineup that just hadn't interwoven. We got to aim at the players a little bit too, because I have extreme faith that Arteta lit into those guys after that performance, because that's another trophy gone. I think that Arteta takes it seriously to a point. He obviously is trying to be pragmatic in however he wants to do it. But we have to look at the intent of the organization as a whole and say, why didn't we fill these positions with more depth? Like,
yeah,
you have to know. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that Fabio Vieira and Jorginho are not acceptable backup options for the midfield while we are in 2 competitions. So that's my take.
What does give me hope though is all these strong links to Declan Rice, like as a potential party replacement. But do you not think that's going to happen?
I love you. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I mean, you said it. You said it yourself. You said it yourself that past behavior is the best indicator of future behavior. And
I know, but you can.
I think
I know you can. You can temper that with the fact that West Ham are like literally. What position are they in right now? Like I'm not sure I've heard like many other links.
I'd say they're around 16th, I think.
16th.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just a case of like I think they're aware of the shortfall there. But that doesn't excuse it. I've been so angry after both of these January transfer windows these last 2 years with the opportunity we've had to kick on rather than just about do enough to not collapse, which is what we've done the last 2 Januaries, I think. So, yeah.
Fact.
That's me.
Absolute fact. Connor, how are you, mate? How you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Jez. I think I'm better than last night, that's for sure. I think everyone was full of emotions last night, and I definitely was, that's for sure. But sort of calmed down now, sort of just accepted it. You know, it's sort of what happens every year, isn't it? Really, with us when it comes to Europe. So yeah, it's sucks, doesn't it? But listen, we just got to keep looking forward. Got to keep looking forward.
There are arguably like positives to take out of it. Like people go around saying now we'll have like way more energy to focus on the league and stuff. But I don't agree with, and Kevin Campbell was saying this, right? About the tiredness thing, about not being able to field your full strength 11. And that's in response to that comment saying like, oh, Fran, so you'd want them to field full strength on a Sunday and then get beaten. Blah. I think it's not beyond like
footballers.
Exactly.
They are elite.
They don't need 7 days break. These guys get paid a lot of money to play in a Euro. And if you're in the highest tier of football in any league, whether it's England, Italy, France, Spain, Germany, you are paid enough money and you've been trained enough all your life to be able to at least play 2 games a week.
And you have
minutes.
Yeah,
you have the top
180 minutes even. Not even that if you're on a sub bench, you know.
And why not start the full strength team, which is what I was going to respond to that commenter. Get the job done, get a couple of goals up, maybe make sure it's done rather than scrambling in like the 70th, 80th minute, like, oh my gosh, we actually need to win here. But yeah, the whole tiredness thing doesn't stack up for me. Kev was saying like at that age, you just want to play every day. Yeah. Hey.
I'm sorry. You know, when I ran my own business, and I employed guys, they didn't get a day off, and they do 8 to 10 hour days, physical work. These guys train 2 to 3 hours a day, then they can do whatever they like. They're on hundreds of thousands of pounds a week, some of them, and they can't play for 180 minutes. I'm sorry. I remember watching teams back in the 70s, 80s, who were nowhere near as fit as these guys. When George Graham came in, there's a thing in the Arsenal thing called the Tuesday Club. They used to go on the piss. They go to casinos and they get right on it. And God knows what else they got up to. But they still went out and they won. So I'm not falling for that one. That is absolute bullshit.
Like,
go on.
I don't know if you've seen it's just in footballers actually have it like somewhat easy compared to like athletes in other sports. I know basically in tennis sometimes you have like back-to-back Grand Slams and world tours, and these players are playing like 2-3 hour matches solo, no one to pass the ball to, well apart from the opposition, like every other day basically. And yeah, I just don't think the tiredness argument is a thing. I work I've worked in athletics and stuff like with decathletes who train 5-6 hours a day, and they go and do a whole weekend of competition, and they're not even being paid for that. It's just argument put to bed. Like they can handle it. But I'll shut up now.
That's cool. I mean, no, you look, Fan. Everybody here, everybody comes in the chat. Well, one thing I love is we have a balanced opinion, and that people can actually say what they want to say, and it doesn't get abusive, and that's what I try and maintain. Strasbourg Steve, good up to see you, mate. Arteta in Europe is woeful. Fits Arsenal like a glove, I suppose. Absolutely, mate. We are absolutely dog crap in Europe. Connor, mate, I want to ask you this one. All right. You wouldn't have been born when a certain David Seaman conceded a goal against Real Zaragoza from Neymar. Naeem, I beg your pardon. And that was in a European Cup Winners' Cup final, which we lost. Yeah. And what was Ramsdale doing, my friend? Stood on his 18-yard box, nobody in front of him, and it's a great goal. It's quality.
Goal.
You cannot deny that. That was quality. But what was he doing?
I think one thing that I can definitely say is that Ramsdale, I think we've seen it a lot. He does like to get a bit forward out of his box a lot. A lot of the time, if we're down playing down the other side of the half, he would like to get out of his box quite a lot, or even a few inches outside of a few inches out of the yards. But listen, I think he definitely learned a lesson, because that's something that he will be definitely not doing again. We can't take it away. It was a great goal. It wasn't a fluke. It was a great goal. You know, the player saw him off his line. He was like, I'm going to take this, and he got it. And it was a fantastic goal and well deserved. It was a great kick. I think at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and completely slander him. I love Ramsdale. I think he's been fantastic for us this season. I think is he joint top with Pope for clean sheets this season? Like, I can't remember the stat.
Yeah, I think he's great.
Yeah, I think he's had a great season. So at the end of the day, he's made a mistake, and I don't think. I think on the penalties, the fact that he dived every single correct way for all those penalties, but couldn't save them, it was just like, and there was the fourth penalty. I cannot remember. You don't ask me who took it, because I barely know any of the sporting players, apart from Marcus Edwards. But he actually dived out to the right position. I think it was to the right of him. Sorry, went bottom left in our vision. And he just didn't fully expand himself. And it's just like, that could have saved us, and that could have actually possibly got us through. So do you know what? At the end of the day, I just don't think it was his day. You know, not all goalkeepers have their day. No, it was a stupid.
I'm not saying that, Connor. All I'm saying is, with the experience and knowledge, and I love Ramsdale. I think he's an absolute top class goalkeeper. I just think that was naivety to do that.
It definitely was, yeah. He likes it. I think, in my opinion, if I think of Ramsdale, as much as I do like him, he can be cocky. And I think we've seen that a lot, especially when we're playing against opposition. He likes to get a little bit mouthy to the away fans, and I love that. But you know, stuff like that, and I completely agree with you, Jez. Stuff like that, it's spineless, and he realistically shouldn't have been that far off his line. And at the end of the day, we can't really say much apart. He's probably learned a lesson, and he'll now know. And I know he's been doing it. He's how old now? Is he 24? So he's known long enough. It's not like he's a new kid on the block, you know, learning the basics. He's been here for a while. So in that sense, yeah, maybe you can't really say it's he's learning a lesson. But listen, like, I wouldn't criticize him that highly. It was a stupid mistake at the end of the day. And he's got to learn from it. And hopefully he doesn't do something like that again, because obviously that costs us games, you know, and it is what it is.
That could ruin our season. I was going to say, Strasbourg, Steve, TJ, if you've got the link and you can send it to our brother Steve. That's all cool.
I'll shoot him the link, but I think he's trying to get on the American Idiot show tonight too. So Steve, you just hang out with us all afternoon, man.
Okay, no worries.
We're messaging.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, I need to put the glasses on this one, because it's getting dark in here now. I was going to say, what's with all the hats on, guys? Are you...
Oh, yeah. Well, my excuse is my hair's too long. I need to go get it cut. So I'm hiding all the mess.
This is the only green I have. This is the only
are you wearing that for Paddy's Day? Is that for Paddy's Day?
Oh!
Do you know what? I'm Irish. I'm half Irish. My last name's O'Neill, so I'm a proper Irish family.
Yeah, you don't need to wear green. You're good.
But even that, I don't even own one Irish national Irish T-shirt, whether it's rugby, football. I need to actually purchase one, because it's a bit sinful that I actually haven't. And I think my Irish half of the family would actually kill me for not even owning one. So I think that's definitely something I need to definitely purchase. But no, I'm I've got my long
Fair.
hair under here, so it's getting bad.
I actually thought
Jez,
you
you
lived in
need a
Ireland.
hat.
I did. I thought you lived in Ireland. But I'll ask this question.
Thank you. They're my children.
Oh yeah, not behind you.
Fish
yeah,
tank.
yeah, nice fish tank. Yeah.
I love them.
Right. I just want to say, Crystal Palace away, and they've sacked their manager. I called
Ugh.
this. I actually said he would be sacked before the weekend, and I said that on Lee's podcast Monday night. So anybody that's called me out and said you talking crap, well, there you go. You can send me your £50 notes by post. Thank you very much. The matter is, and I'll come to you on this one, Fran. Were you surprised this morning to see that news?
I thought it was coming, but I thought only if it had continued for a bit longer. I think it was premature. And I was shocked when I heard it. Yeah, I was. I think it's unfair. Should have given him more time. How long? He's not been there long, at all, has he? And yeah, it's not on. And now this has got new manager bounce, like Burnley written all over it, all over again. But I don't know how it's going to factor into Arsenal. But I feel for Vieira. It's awful for him, and yeah, I don't think that's really fair.
No.
But I know that the fans at Palace have not been happy. It's just been getting worse and worse, and I think he should have been given a bit more time to turn it around. I think. But
I think the problem is that Vieira isn't a great manager. He's failed. But I'm going to come to TJ on that in a second. Just going to say, people, we got 67 watching, only 49 likes. Smash it up. Got a great panel here once again tonight. And I won't up out tonight, but I'm 13 away from 3,500 subs. So, anybody wants to
get it done, people. Get it done.
Perfect. And I'll do a special show with some special people to do the 3,500 thanks show. TJ, Patrick Vieira, I saw you put it out there, man, this morning, that he's been sacked. Were you surprised?
Yep, I was up in the middle of the night doom scrolling because I couldn't sleep, and I saw Patty got the axe. I'm not surprised. This is a results-driven business, and Crystal Palace were not and have not and hopefully will not provide results for their supporters. So, I mean, they've been woeful. So it doesn't surprise me in the least. But you also have to look at the players for Crystal Palace, and that they have to be feeling terrible about getting the legend Patrick Vieira sacked because they couldn't play. Yeah. So I'm glad that they liked him, but their play also got him sacked. Not a shot in 3 games. That's not down to the manager. That's down to your players. In my opinion, he didn't
tell them to do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's just like it's one of those things where you have to. I think we're emotional about it because we want to see our ex players succeed. Unfortunately for us, they're going to be on the bounce. They're going to be at home, and their crowd is going to be up for it because they're going to want to see a result, even with a caretaker manager in place, right? So, I do feel bad for Vieira. I want him to come home in some capacity, but I also want him to be I think he can be a great manager as well because he did a lot with a Crystal Palace team that is honestly pretty thin. I mean, they got rid of Conor Gallagher, and I honestly couldn't name you another Crystal Palace player other than Zaha, right? So it's one of those things where we feel for our legend, and I hope he finds another job, and I hope he comes home, and I also hope we go to Selhurst Park and absolutely turn them over, but we'll get to that.
Vengeance for Patrick.
Yeah, we got them, haven't we, at the Emirates on Sunday. It's never an easy day out. Palace were a strange breed. David Dundas down in deepest New Zealand. Arteta's thrown away the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and the Europa Trophy. It's not as though he has won heaps and can afford to. Totally agree, man. Totally agree.
Great.
Connor. He's disrespected the FA Cup, which I mean, I love the FA Cup. I grew up with it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think he does disrespect some of these cups, man.
Yeah, and going back on the point we said earlier about resting players, I mean, if you're going against and this is no disrespect to these teams, but if you're going against a League Two side in these competitions or a League One side, you expect rotation, right? But for a lot of these games, like the Brighton game we played in, was it the Carabao Cup? Was it? Yeah, it was the Carabao Cup, wasn't it? Who did we get knocked out by? Or was it the FA Cup? Was it? It was one of them. It was either one of them. I can't remember. But we played our third string goalkeeper that game against a Premier League side. Don't forget who put out their strongest side. So their manager had a clear idea of what they wanted, what they were trying to achieve. So why can't we? And I completely agree with whoever commented that. Yeah, he completely disrespects these cups. You know, that there's times where I think we can all agree. I don't think we were all expecting a full strength side the other day, but not all the changes that he made, especially to that midfield. I was expecting a fully strength midfield because they're all fit, you know? So, but at the end of the day, it happens again and again every season that Arteta's been here. And, you know, like it just seems to be a regular occurrence where he'll throw out players that don't normally play in these competitions and expect them to get a win. And don't forget that the only FA Cup that Arteta's won was the season when Emery left. And he was already halfway through it. And he just sort of had to make the last final hurdle, really. And at the end of the day, what can I say? Does Arteta learn from his mistakes? I can't say yes, because it's been happening a couple of seasons now since he's been here. It's been the same old story. We'll probably get past the first few rounds in the League Cups, or in the English Cup, and then we'll get knocked out soon as maybe round 6, round 5, you know, probably by the round of 32 or the round of 16. You know, so I can't say much, honestly. It's down to Arteta's team selection, and I like I said, I would love to say he will learn from his mistakes, but he's done this for how many seasons now? You know, we keep getting knocked out of every cup competition, and all I've got to say is if this man does not go ahead and win us this Premier League title this season, every fan will be on his back. And of course, there'll be tons of rival fans that will come at us and saying, "You're fake. You wanted him to be in. You wanted him this." And like, if your manager is really he's brought us on a crazy run this season with all these players. We're on the road, 11 games away to winning a league title, which we haven't won in how many years? Nearly 20 years, 21 years. You know, so at the end of the day, we've got to look at it in hindsight. He's completely flopped, especially this season. He's completely fluked away these 2 League Cups, these 2 English League Cups, especially that Brighton game with that poor selection. Oh, my God. Against the Premier League side, don't forget. And the Brighton side, who have also been really, really good this season with a lot of talented players in their side. Especially, I've got to quickly say, the resurgence of Solly March under this manager has been crazy. Solly March has been one of Brighton's best players this season. And the fact that I can't remember his name, is it De Zerbi? He has brought something out of that player, which out of all the players in Brighton, I did not think Solly March would become a very good player for that side, but he has. But anyway, in hindsight, back to my point, Arteta's bottled that League Cup and the FA Cup very easily there. The Europa League speaks for itself last night. Poor team selection, poor performance. It's on both the manager and the defender and the players, sorry. So he's got the Premier League left. And you know what? I completely agree with what Lee said the other day on his channel. If we don't win this league and Tottenham still get top 4, forget this whole mad run we've had. We've had the same season as Tottenham. Yeah. Complete same season. And Arteta.
Why'd you have to bring that up, Connor?
Well, I'm sorry, TJ, bro. I hate it, but it's fact. Unfortunately, it's the fact. And at the end of the day, we don't want to be thinking like this because we want to be winning this league title more than anything. But we've got to face the facts if we don't. You know, and Arteta's got to take massive hits for it. At the end of the day, hasn't brought another trophy home, but I don't want to be thinking about that. I want to hold a Premier League trophy this season, but. That's my view on it, and I completely agree with that comment. He's constantly bottling with these competitions.
Sorry.
Yep.
Can I just, no, in that last super chat, don't ever come at anyone for their mental health problems or generalize anything to do with mental health. If you don't know enough about it, like, just don't come at it. Sorry, don't disrespect anyone else's mental health problems. Anyway, sorry, I get a bit sensitive on that topic. Like, it's not necessary.
Big up, friend. Big up.
It's not necessary. But I've got this theory about.
Sorry, Frank. Can I just say?
Yeah, of course.
You know, Pete flip flops around and fair play. He may be genuine, and there's no need to, basically.
Very weird.
Down for it. It's a difficult time for everybody, so fair play to him. Anyway, I want to move on. Fran, come to you on this one.
Hello.
We've got Palace at the Emirates, 2:00 Sunday, and I really, really expect Arteta to go strong, but we've lost possibly Saliba out, and we should possibly have Tomiyasu out. I want to ask you this question. Frank, why the hell does he not play Tierney? Tierney was the ideal player last night to play against bloody Lisbon, and he didn't, and he cocked it up again.
Yeah, don't get me started. I mean, the first leg, they were exploiting down our left-hand side because Zinchenko's always out of position, and then they basically saw our lineup and just did exactly the same thing again. It's just... that whole Tierney thing absolutely infuriates me. I've got so much sympathy for the guy. Like, he's such an honest, like, good, old-fashioned, like, straight up and down, like, Prem player. Like, he's a great lad. And just on a personal level, like, I don't know what he's done to deserve this, especially in games where he's perfectly suited, where Zinchenko just didn't work in the first leg. I'm trying to start the hashtag, or unless it's already going, hashtag free Tierney. Because it's just not good enough at all. And if he goes in the summer, how are we going to get a left back of his quality, his reliability, his experience? I know he's injury prone, but for like less than 40 mil, 50 mil, and even then I don't trust the board and that to get a good left back. Like, we've got to keep Kieran Tierney sweet. Like, he's such a good player, and I think Arteta's just so set on, I want my left back to be drifting into midfield, that so Tierney doesn't do that, so I'm just not going to play him at all. I think he's got to be a bit more flexible with his tactics and use the strengths of some of these players more. So yeah. But Palace, I'd love to see Tierney play, but I know he won't. I'm not sure about the situation with Saliba. I heard it wasn't too bad. Tommy's like out, so now it's on Ben White, but Tommy's been out quite a lot and Ben's handled it. So I'm not too worried about that. But if Saliba's out, then we've got a problem. Though Holding did all right. But Saliba and Gabriel are really crucial for us.
I don't think we actually took that into consideration because we obviously talk about depth, and I think because Gabriel and Saliba have been so non-injury prone all season, they haven't been injured once, from what I believe. Anyway, we didn't even think about our backups in defence. We've got a non-experienced Kivior just come in from is it Spezia, and then Rob Holding, who in my opinion, I'm sorry, and you can hate on me all you want. Rob Holding is not good enough for Arsenal Football Club. As much as anyone wants to love him, don't get me wrong. Rob Holding, the person, he's a nice guy. But at football clubs, you want nice people, but you want great players. And if I'm looking at Gabriel Saliba being injured, which I don't think Saliba will, I think Saliba will be fine by Sunday. But if you want to look at players to back up, Rob Holding isn't the option, man. He's won 2 FA Cups, right? Okay, nice one. But for the majority of his time at Arsenal, he has barely been a starter. And he's only been a starter if there's an injury to our main centre-backs. You know, and it's not good enough. And all this thing about, he's a leader and all this. Don't get me wrong. I like Rob Holding, the person. He's a nice guy. He's a type of guy you can throw on in the 80th minute and he'll probably hold the result for you. You know, it's like El Neni. You'll throw him on in the 85th. He might just hold the midfield. It's like what Rob Holding does. But Rob Holding isn't that, man. He's not all that. It's just, I don't know why he's still here, and I don't like the excuse of the whole leadership thing, because I'm sorry, that's a load of nonsense. That's just someone filling in a wage gap just to be a leader, and I'm not having it. I'd rather have a leader in, like I made an example yesterday on Dell Stream, bit out there, and it's a different position, but Casemiro, I'd say he's a leader with the amount of experience he's had, the amount of European success, and that success he had in that Real Madrid side, old enough as he is at 31 or 32, he's still world class. And that's what I want. I want world-class leaders, not someone like Rob Holding, who's mid at best on his day. Yes, he can hold the back line well in the last 10 minutes of the game, but he's not a player you want starting in the whole 90 minutes if we've got a centre-back out. And that's now the worrying thing. And obviously, I think Tomiyasu is out for a while because there was pictures of him yesterday leaving the Emirates in crutches. So that's him not going to be back for however long. I think Saliba, he was on the bench during the game, and he was all happy and smiley alongside Jesus during the game last night. Yeah, so I think he'll be all right. Maybe they might test him out throughout the next few days, but I think he'll be all right. But it's worrying, and especially when we're at such a crucial point at the end of the season. I don't want Rob Holding starting against Liverpool, against Chelsea, against Man City. I don't want this, and I just hope to God. And this is the problem. But this is the problem, because we'll now probably go into the summer, right? We'll look to get probably some new starting players. But I just feel like I think they sort of blindside us with, then we look at it bluntly, and the depth is never that great. I can't lie to you, and I'll give Arteta props for this. Our attacking options have probably been the best they've been for quite a long time. I think we've said it multiple times on this channel, Jez. Our attacking options, it's quite nice to have a variety of who we can bring on. But especially in that defence, man, it's worrying. Just with injuries. I love the starting, especially the starting pairing of Gabriel and Saliba. I'm sorry, I love him. I absolutely love him. Honestly, I love him. But it's worrying the depth-wise. But yeah.
Totally agree with you. Danny Taudo, changed his name. Have a great weekend all. Big up, Jez. Nice to see your channel keeps growing. Yeah, it's getting there, man. Thank you. It's people like you, amazing support, that come and watch this amazing panel. I always like to mix it up, get different people on, and got Fran. Go and support her on her channel, Galazzo. Go look at her artwork, man. She's absolutely unbelievable. Yeah. It's incredible stuff on there. Seriously. But we'll do the shout outs towards the end. But it seems that most of the chat tonight is about Pete, which, you know, that's great. Not really, because we're here to talk about Arsenal. But facts are. You know, seriously. I'm just going to go do a round robin on this. Do a round robin because I'm going to have some tea. TJ, prediction for Sunday, Arsenal, Crystal Palace, with, as you quite correctly put this morning, the new manager bounce. How you seeing it, man?
If we play a strong midfield with Trossard on the left, Jesus up top, Saka on the right, we are going to absolutely put them in the ground. I'm going to go 3-0 Arsenal. The new manager bounce cannot help the woeful side that is Crystal Palace. We need to take them seriously. So I want the best squad that we can slot in there. Now, with Saliba potentially out, you know who else can play center back?
Who?
Kieran Tierney.
Oh, yeah.
He plays center back for his national team.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe,
I know, mind blowing. Mind blowing. Mind blowing.
Yeah, I forgot. Like,
So Zinchenko, Zinchenko. And then you got obviously Ramsdale and go Zinchenko, Tierney, Gabriel, Ben White, Odegaard, Xhaka, and why am I blanking right now? Odegaard, Xhaka,
Partey.
and Partey. Thank you, good lord. And then the three I just mentioned. Sorry, it's been a long day, so a long day getting longer, my brother. So yeah, that's my prediction. My prediction: 3-0 to the Arsenal. We're gonna bounce back, and we're gonna shoot the Eagles down.
Yeah, I agree. Connor, your prediction, man. My personal prediction was 3-0.
Yep.
So, how do you see it, mate?
Listen, we can talk about the game the other day and how poor it was of a performance, but like I said this yesterday on the Dell stream, I know they've just got rid of Vieira, but Vieira doesn't score goals. The players do. These guys haven't scored in 5 games, and I swear to God, and they haven't won since December 31st. Even if it is a secondary manager coming a caretaker or an actual appointment, we've got to be winning this game, man. With our full strength side, personally, I'd actually have Jesus on the bench for this one and go with Martinelli and Trossard, just because it's been working recently. I just don't want to throw that off just yet. Just work Jesus back into this eventually, but I'm really happy with them up top. But personally, are we going to put in a performance like we did against Fulham, or are we going to put in a performance like we did last night? And this is what I'm worried about. But I'm going to be confident. And listen, we are where we are because we've been bloody brilliant in the league this season. We can't fault that, removing all the negativity from last night. I'm going to go with 2-0. I'd be very annoyed if we concede. If Saliba's back, I'd be very annoyed if we concede to that Palace side this weekend. And I'm not going to do a whole lineup. It's full strength, our normal full strength side. If Saliba's in, of course, I'll have Saliba. If Saliba's not there, I'm sorry, guys. It's probably going to be Rob Holding. Tierney won't go in there. I'm sorry, he won't.
You're right.
I'm really sorry,
Right.
he won't. He'll probably be Rob Holding. But at the top, I think I'm happy to go with Trossard, Martinelli, and Saka just because it's been working, And but yeah, I'd be quite. If we lose this game, or actually, we're known for drawing a lot with Palace. If this game ends up in a draw, I'll be very, very fuming, especially with how their form's been recently. But I'm going to keep it positive, and I'm going to go with a 2-0 win to Arsenal, especially now it's at the Emirates.
Totally agree, man. Fran, how do you see it going? Arsenal, Palace at the Emirates.
Well, it's dented my confidence, that performance last night. And how many times can this team continually pick themselves up from a bad game, and will that luck sort of run out? And I'm just, all these doubts are going on in my head now, and if they're going on for me, are they going on for the players? So I don't know, my gut's saying we're going to draw. It's really awful, but I think that's just me being reactive and all upset from yesterday still.
I wouldn't blame you. That's normally our results against Palace. That's fun. Yeah. I like to call Palace our bogey team. Sorry to interrupt you. I like to call Palace our bogey team. They have been, Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just getting this feeling it's going to be like a 1-1 or something, and the meltdown is just going to be huge. But come on, if they've got any sense about them, then we'll just get up, shake this one off, go again. Did Man U win after the 7-0 thrashing?
They won in the Europa League.
They beat Real Betis 4-1.
Yeah,
they beat Real Betis.
Have they played in the Prem yet?
They won. No, they drew against Southampton, didn't they? Because Casemiro got the red card.
Yep.
No, anyway, so I think we might draw, but fingers crossed they'll prove me wrong. I'm going to back the team. Come on, I can't stress how important this game is and how important winning the league is now. I just cannot stress how important it is.
We've got to look long term as well. Obviously, Man City aren't playing in the league this weekend because of the FA Cup. If we win this game, we do go 8 points clear in this international break. And we've got to remember, if we do beat Leeds when they come back and we secure that 8-point clearance, Man City are playing Liverpool when they come back. So it makes this game on the weekend even bigger because we could possibly go 8 points clear of these guys if Liverpool decide to turn up at the Etihad. So that's another factor you've got to weigh into this weekend. It's a massive game, especially for building back this confidence from Thursday and also just getting back into this in the league, man. Because
Sorry about that.
There's no excuses, like we say. We get a week's break now, even though that shouldn't be the case. But no excuses now. Full throttle into this game, and we've got to be winning this and getting a clean sheet as well.
Fact.
Yeah.
Matthew D'Souza says Arteta has won the FA Cup. Well, he has, but it wasn't his team. He took over from Emery's team, and he's won absolutely jack shit ever since. So, fair play. I respect your comment, man, but he's cocked up every cup competition ever since. So I don't get what your point is. I mean, obviously you're a fan of Arteta, and I respect that. But no, not really. Fran, I've got to ask you a question.
Yes.
In your left hand, is that pencil stuck to you?
Yeah, no, it's one of my. You call me out like that.
So to ask you that.
Yeah,
right,
I've got
okay.
paints and pencils everywhere.
Soon, but thanks everybody for watching. It's been different tonight, different comments, which is always cool. It's sometimes you have to try and monitor what's being said, but Sarah says it was a long journey home from the Emirates for Gracie last night. 2 a.m. they got home. Nightmare. That's a journey. Rico 63, Newcastle can win tonight, please. I mean, I'd like to see Newcastle.
Completely forgot there was Premier League football tonight. Actually, completely forgot.
Yeah, bring it. Come on. Is it Newcastle City?
No, Nottingham Forest.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I've got a couple of very, very, very good Geordie mates who I drink with every other, most in the week, and big up to them. And I know when we play them away, it's going to be. I'm actually going to watch that game with them down the pub, and I know that's going to be a nightmare.
Last season was.
Jez, I've got a quick question for you. I've got a question for you, actually, Jez. Bit of a curveball here. Obviously, we've now seen recently a lot of Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and now apparently Qatari coming in for Man United, taking over these teams, and such as Man City and Newcastle, and giving them a lot of cash injections. And now Man United apparently have Qataris possibly coming in and giving them a massive cash injection ahead of what's the guys they've got now? Completely forgot that. No, the faces.
The Glazers.
The Glazers. That's it. Glazed donuts. That was a bad joke. Anyway. But obviously you've got all these guys coming in, injecting some money into these teams. Are you worried now if possibly Man United get taken over by these Qataris with a massive cash injection that it will leave a team like us, like Arsenal, quite sidelined? Even though we do have a rich owner like Stan Kroenke, this man is very, very rich. But these sort of owners seem like they just sort of throw money at these teams, and Stan Kroenke doesn't normally do that.
He's so stingy.
Do you think it will make a difference in terms of the league, especially now it could possibly be 3 major teams taken over by these big companies?
Of course it will. It will. Look, Arsenal work as a self-sustainable model, right? That's how they balance it. They're not in the business of cash injections. Arsenal are a very, very rich club. If you actually go and look on Company's House and look at their cash reserves, they have hundreds of millions of pounds. The fact of how they work it is if you look at most of the transfer business that is performed by Arsenal, it's from sales. Season tickets, it's from day tickets for people that are buying, like silly money, and shirt sales, which they get, I think Arsenal get 2% from, something like that. And so that's where their business model is. The fact they have all this money in reserve is purely and simply, dare I say it, they might want to repair the roof that was leaking last
That was
night.
bad. That was bad.
Mm.
And we criticised Old Trafford for being old. That was bad.
Dear my God. I mean, that was shocking, man.
What hurts even more is that they've got like the most expensive stadium in the world for the Rams, the Sophie Stadium as well. Just on that.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
I didn't realise what was going on when it happened. I saw them sort of separating. I'm like, are they leaving? What's going on? And I realised there was tons of water coming down. So bad.
I mean, that was shocking. I mean, to have that level of a problem at the Emirates. I mean, come on, man. That's just not. But yeah, and that's the philosophy, Connor, of Arsenal Football Club. They have this has been going on since Wenger's time. And I think it's still entrusted in the club down to how Wenger ran the club, because he was Mr. Arsenal. He dealt with everything. He wouldn't deal with the super agents. He wouldn't deal with anybody but people from other clubs, i.e. management. He wouldn't entertain these big agents. Do you remember when we sold Fabregas?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he wanted to come back, but because he had a super agent, Wenger was like, "I'm not entertaining it."
I think it was the same thing as Sanchez, wasn't it? Sanchez done the same thing as well, didn't he? He went up to Man United and he was like, "I don't want to be here. I want to go back to Arsenal."
Yeah, but he wouldn't deal with it because he had a super agent, and that's the indictment of Arsenal Football Club, and unfortunately, that's the way we are now. Would I want a big Qatari owner? Yes, because unfortunately, with the Cronkies, with Newcastle, Man United possibly being bought by a Qatari owner, they have billions and billions. It's small time for them. It's small time.
Yeah.
Look at what happened at Leicester when the Thai guy bought it. They won the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, invested.
Yeah.
Sadly, the man died in that helicopter crash,
Yeah.
and Leicester have never been the same again. But the fact of the matter remains that we have got to step up to the mark. But I could go on for hours on this and speak facts and figures, but I'm not going to because it's boring. Central Man Network says, my fear is that we're going to have a bad patch of form.
Not boring.
Got a strong form going into the end of March throughout the month of April. Well, I hope you're right.
I completely agree with that.
I hope you're right.
Legit.
And Gavin O'Flaherty says, Happy Paddy's Day to Jamino Bardia, the legend, though keeping the page going, bud. Yeah, top man, top fella. So I'm going to wrap this up soon because I'm absolutely bleeding starving. I've got to cook my own tea tonight.
Wait.
Bad.
Hey.
Bad. Why do you have a wife? You know what I mean?
I need to get yelled at sometimes, Jez. That's why I have one.
No.
Well, I've got. Sorry, man. Look, I'm not sexist at all. I'm not sexist. But the other night, a couple of weeks ago, I was messing about, and I'd cook. I always cook Sunday roast, right? I always do. It's my thing, right?
Big up.
And she said, and I do a bloody good Sunday roast. And she said to me, "You going to wash it up?" And I went, "I cooked it." And she went, "Well, whenever I cook in the week, I always wash up." I said, "But the thing is, that's because you got smaller feet. You can stand near the sink." And
Jeez.
I got an absolute slap for that. I swear to God.
My boyfriend.
Good on her.
My boyfriend comes home from work and says, like, I'm so hungry. And I say, don't you have lunch? And he said, no, I had to starve today because you didn't make me a packed lunch. He's only joking, but it's funny.
I love cooking. I think cooking. I think cooking. This is an Arsenal, but I think for me, cooking is so therapeutic, in my opinion.
I
It
hate
just
it.
really
cooking.
just it zones you out. It really, for me, it just really. I cooked tonight, and I just thought it really just takes you out for a bit. Put a bit of music on. You're really just having a good time, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
and cheers, Luke. Thanks for that. I don't know what great work for, but cheers.
Stop talking about frying fish, guys. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
I know the
goldfish,
joke's
yeah.
like we've got bigger fish to fry. That's what
Yeah,
some
yeah.
people are saying. And yeah,
I'm so
not
tired
these
of that
ones.
joke.
Not these ones.
If anybody clips that, I was joking. I'm not a sexist at all. Okay, I love my wife. I love my wife to death, and she does everything for me. To the fact, I'm not allowed to use the washing machine because she doesn't trust me that I won't break it. So there you go. There you go. There we go. Wrap it up, people. Thanks everybody for watching and subbing. If anybody has subbed, I'm 13 away from 3,500. So it's not a lot.
Sub.
So if anybody
Sub now.
here, smash it up. Let's get there, and I'll do a special show. I'll invite people on. I'll invite people from the chat. Never done that before. That'd be something different. Might get some interesting people on. Come have a chat. Fran, shout yourself out. This young lady, before she does, this young lady, Fran Galazzo, amazing artist. Go and support her. Go and sub to her channel and go look at her merch. It's incredible. If I had
Thank you.
2% of your talent, I'd be happy.
No, I'm just really sad and don't have much of a life. So yeah, I'm working on a massive portrait of Trossard doing the superhero pose in like coloured pencils and stuff, and you can find it by looking at goal art. So I can put it in the chat, or I don't know if it's showing on the screen. So yeah, I've nearly finished that, and it's this massive realistic portrait of Trossard. So guys, please do go and check it out, and that's the name of my website as well, where I sell art and stuff like that. But anyway, also check out Jez's mugs, everyone. Jez's wife's mugs. They're super cool. And thank you again, Jez, for having me on. Make sure everyone subscribe to Jez and everyone else on the panel. And yeah, we better get the job done on Sunday.
Facts. Absolute facts. And TJ, you're going live, I believe, at 9 o'clock. Looking forward to that, man. Looking forward to that.
Yep. 9 o'clock, TJ Warren TV, The American Idiot Show. It's a show that me and Oregon Gooner are hosting. I'm about to go over to Oris channel. If you guys want to follow me over there, we're going to talk. We're going to preview the Prem for about 15 minutes before I have to go and get that ready. So, yeah, please subscribe to this man, the legend, Jez. Come on. 13 subs away.
100%.
You guys can do it. You guys can do it. So again, Jez, thank you so much for having me on the channel. I it's an honor every time I get invited. So thank you very, very much.
Mate, it's always a pleasure. You know, I love having different people on, different fans, different clubs. I have had one person who berated me. Why are you having different fans from different clubs? Well, I like to. Gives you a different perspective. You know,
Yeah.
from
100%.
their point of view, and I think that's what a proper debate is about. Yeah, I love having Arsenal fans on. Of course, I do. I'm an Arsenal fan through and through, but I don't have a problem having other people on, have a debate and have a chat. Connor, man, thank you, mate, for coming on. This young man. If you need any content, graphics, all that. His work's amazing. He did
Really good.
everything that it is. And you were asking me the other day, Connor, what am I sending you? I'm sending you one of my custom mugs.
I thought it would be. I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait for that. I'm looking forward to it.
My wife, she makes them. My wife's an amazing crafter. She makes cakes, all kinds of crap, and all kinds of other stuff. And it was her idea. She just said, "Oh, let me make you some mugs." And I said, "All right, fair play." I wasn't actually that, I wasn't that bothered about it, really. I said, "Right, okay." Then she came up with these coasters now, these little coaster things.
Oh, nice.
They look
Yeah, nice.
awesome. They look great.
Good on them. They look really good. Really good.
Those are sick.
I'm actually sticking these in the mug boxes when I send them out now.
Oh, nice.
Things.
Love it.
And it's not a business looking to make money out. It's just if anybody wants one, that's fine, that's cool. But mate, shout yourself out, my friend.
Yeah, I do graphics. Really, that's what I'm mainly into doing at the moment, or that's what I do for a job at the moment, even. And I used to do a bit of YouTube before all this, but I sort of gave it a bit of a break because I was really busy. But yeah, I do graphics. Mainly just use Instagram, and that's cmo.editing on Instagram. And listen, if anyone ever wants to hit me up with some graphics for their YouTube, their Instagram, any sort of social media, I'll be more than happy to help you out with it. At the moment, I'm currently working on this man right here, TJ. I'm currently doing some work for his channel. So that should be with him very soon. I'm getting to work on that now. And Jez, thank you very much for having me on. And please do thank your wife for sending across, for making these lovely mugs and sending one across to me as well. Really appreciate that. And thank you for having me on the show. Thank you for having me on the show.
Mate, you're always welcome.
Nice.
Anybody that comes on here is always welcome, because everybody that comes on here speaks facts, and I just love talking to different people. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. It's not just about Arsenal. It's about anything. Like Lee's doing now. He's doing a second channel, isn't he? And it's nothing to do with football. And I find it's bloody amazing. Very funny.
It's funny.
So once again, Gran, thank you very much. Love that aquarium behind you.
Massive. It is massive.
I actually used to have a 5-foot aquarium in my garden shed, but unfortunately, somebody broke it. I won't mention her name.
Oh,
there we go. And I said I want another one, and she won't let me have it. That's obviously I wear the trousers in the house, not TJ. Thank you, mate, for coming on once again. I'll be seeing you at 9 o'clock, I believe.
Absolutely.
And thank you, mate. Thank you. And we'll call it there. I'll do the outro. And come on, you Gunners. We better bloody win this on Sunday. We can go 8 points clear, man. And after that shit show last night, we need it. So thanks everybody for watching. It's been great fun. Take care.
I'm relieved to hear that you've been to some far places. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I had seen such riches, I could